These are not your typical Japanese classics. This list covers 12 unknown luxury sleepers from the 1970s that were quiet on the outside, but hiding serious performance underneath. Let's get into it. Number 12, 1970 Toyota Century V12. The Toyota Century has long stood as Japan's quiet answer to Rolls-Royce, but the 1970 model, featuring a V12 engine, elevated that reputation to extraordinary levels. This was never a car designed for the average executive. It was purpose-built for the elite, cabinet ministers, captains of industry, and in some cases, the emperor himself. While Western luxury brands often flaunted their status with chrome-heavy designs and bold powertrains, the Century approached opulence with restraint. Its squared-off lines, delicate chrome detailing, and subtle bodywork created a dignified presence. It was a silhouette that demanded respect without ever needing to ask for it. Under the hood sat a hand-built 5-liter V12 engine. This was not an engine meant to roar. Instead, it hummed with the grace of a mechanical symphony. With around 280 horsepower, it offered plenty of power for smooth acceleration. But the true marvel was how it delivered that performance. Each movement was intentional and refined. The Century was built to glide, not race. Sound insulation was so extensive that even at highway speeds, passengers felt as though they were cocooned in silence. The ride was buttery smooth, and the soft suspension made imperfections in the road feel like distant memories. Inside, the Century rejected Western norms of leather and polished metal. Instead, it embraced traditional Japanese values. The cabin was upholstered in high-grade wool, chosen for its comfort and quiet elegance. The seats were more like lounge chairs, and details such as lace curtains and polished wood trim made it feel like a private suite. Most people outside of Japan never saw one in person. These cars were not exported, and that exclusivity only enhanced their mystique. For those lucky enough to ride in one, the experience was unforgettable. Leaving behind Toyota's pinnacle of discretion and grace, we now step into a Mazda coupe that broke the mold entirely, with a rotary engine and styling penned by one of Italy's greatest designers. Number 11, 1970 Mazda Luce Rotary Coupe. Mazda's 1970 Luce Rotary Coupe was a bold experiment wrapped in executive styling. Designed by none other than Giorgetto Giugiaro, the car exuded European class with its long hood, sloping rear, and graceful proportions. It had the look of a grand tourer built to turn heads on any boulevard. But it was not just a pretty face. Beneath the sculpted lines sat Mazda's pioneering rotary engine technology, specifically the 13A rotary. This engine was both innovative and compact, allowing Mazda to lower the hood line and improve weight distribution. As a result, the Luce was not only luxurious in appearance, but also surprisingly well-balanced on the road. Producing just under 130 horsepower, the Luce was not a powerhouse in terms of raw acceleration. However, the smooth and linear power delivery of the rotary engine made it a joy to rev. Unlike traditional piston engines, the 13A offered a refined, almost electric feel. Its lightweight design gave the car a nimble front end, which Mazda engineers used to create a more engaging driving experience. The Luce was among the first full-size luxury vehicles to make real use of rotary power, signaling that Mazda was serious about redefining performance. It offered a futuristic alternative to the big, thundering V8s of the era, appealing to those who valued sophistication over brute force. Although the Luce Rotary Coupe was produced in limited numbers and never achieved mainstream success, it played a crucial role in shaping Mazda's identity. It proved that the rotary engine could be more than just a gimmick or confined to sports cars. It had a place in the luxury world too. Collectors today prize the Luce not just for its rarity, but for its vision. It was one of the earliest attempts at combining high design, alternative engineering, and premium feel into a single, cohesive package. Now that we have explored Mazda's elegant risk-taker, it is time to return to Toyota, where power and prestige merged into a sharply styled Crown Coupe with serious presence. Number 10, 1970 Toyota Crown Coupe MS50 2.6-liter M Series. The Toyota Crown has always been a name that stood for reliability, composure, and executive class. But the 1970 MS50 Coupe added an unexpected twist. It brought style to a model known more for quiet strength than curb appeal. The two-door coupe configuration gave the MS50 a sleeker, more dynamic look, departing from the boxier sedans in the lineup. With a wide chrome grille, distinctive rear haunches, and balanced proportions, this crown had presence. It was Toyota's calculated experiment, blending its established luxury formula with a touch of sportiness that felt well-earned. Under the hood, the MS50 Coupe was powered by the 2.6-liter M-Series inline-six engine. This power plant was not aggressive, but it was refined and reliable. It offered strong mid-range performance, making it ideal for long-distance driving and relaxed highway cruising. Buyers could choose between a 3-speed automatic or a more engaging 4-speed manual, both of which suited the Crown's character. The suspension was engineered for comfort, absorbing road imperfections gracefully, yet still capable of maintaining composure on winding roads. It was a smooth operator with just enough edge to keep driving interesting. The real charm, however, lay in the interior. The cabin featured plush cloth seating, genuine wood paneling, and a dashboard layout that felt ahead of its time. Features such as a push-button radio, power windows, and soft closed doors reinforced the luxury mission. Unlike its sedan siblings, the coupe variant was produced in much smaller numbers, making it a prized collectible today. It remains one of the more elegant interpretations of the Crown nameplate, delivering timeless looks with a dignified driving experience. Enjoying this trip through Japan's forgotten luxury scene? Hit like if you have spotted one in the wild and subscribe for more hidden icons. Now let's shift gears and enter Mitsubishi's domain, where the debonair A33 proved that even boardroom cruisers could have personality. Number 9. 1973 Mitsubishi Debonair A33. The 1973 Mitsubishi Debonair A33 was not your typical performance car. In fact, on paper, it barely qualified as one. Yet in the world of Japanese luxury sedans, the Debonair quietly held its ground with a blend of stately design, surprising engineering, and an executive edge that many never knew existed. Its squared-off lines, large chrome grille, and upright proportions made it look every bit the part of a government official's ride. But beneath that polished shell was a car that had been carefully refined since its original debut in the 1960s. The Debonair A33 came powered by a 2.6-liter inline-six, which might not seem like much, but it was tuned for smoothness and offered enough torque to move the large sedan with confidence. More importantly, Mitsubishi prioritized ride quality and high-speed stability. The suspension was plush yet composed, ideal for expressway cruising. The automatic transmission was refined for its time, shifting with ease and barely disturbing the serenity of the cabin. Sound insulation was among the best available, and the attention to cabin comfort was obvious in every detail. Inside, the Debonair offered amenities typically reserved for more expensive Western rivals. Power accessories, soft touch materials, and thoughtful layout made it a pleasure to occupy for long drives or city traffic alike. The A33 may not have roared on the street, but it was a car of quiet dignity and subtle purpose. These sedans were rarely exported, making survivors incredibly rare today. From Mitsubishi's discreet diplomat, we slide into something even rarer, a Subaru coupe with charm, quirk, and unexpected road manners that turned heads in its own right. Number 8. 1973 Subaru GL 14000 Coupe. The 1973 Subaru GL 14000 Coupe arrived during a time when Subaru was still finding its place in the automotive world. While many dismissed the brand as quirky or utilitarian, this coupe aimed to change perceptions. With a compact two-door layout, sloping roofline, and crisp detailing, the GL 14000 looked far more stylish than its humble origins might suggest. It carried itself with confidence and flair, making it a standout in a segment typically dominated by more conservative shapes. For a company better known for small family cars and utilitarian wagons, this was an early attempt to break into something more aspirational. Under the hood, the GL 14000 featured a 1.4-liter flat-4 engine. Though modest in output, the engine's boxer layout gave it a low center of gravity and balanced handling. It was mated to a 4-speed manual transmission that delivered just enough fun to make weekend drives worthwhile. The engine did not shout, but it was eager and responsive. The car's lightweight frame and tight suspension tuning meant it could handle twisty roads with surprising ease. Drivers who assumed it was just another compact commuter were in for a shock once they got behind the wheel. What made the GL 14,000 Coupe special was not outright performance, but the total package. It had a unique character that blended economy with flair, making it a perfect alternative to the more expensive coupes of the time. The interior was smartly laid out with a functional but stylish dashboard and well-bolstered seats. Subaru would eventually become synonymous with all-wheel drive and rally dominance, but this early coupe showed the company's design and engineering potential long before the Impreza or the WRX ever existed. As we move on from Subaru's charming outsider, we dive straight into Datsun territory, where a sleek and muscular Laurel 2000 SGX carried hidden fire beneath its refined styling. Number 7. 1974 Datsun Laurel 2000 SGX S20 Inline-6. The 1974 Datsun Laurel 2000 SGX is one of those rare cars that lived in the shadows of its more famous siblings, yet carried just as much performance potential. With its elegant lines, chrome accents, and fastback styling, it appeared to be a luxury cruiser, but inside the engine bay sat the same legendary S20 inline-6 engine that powered the iconic Skyline GTR. That made the Laurel SGX a genuine sleeper, offering GTR performance in a more formal suit. It was a car for someone who appreciated speed, but did not feel the need to announce it. The S20 engine was a marvel of its time. With dual overhead cams, triple carbs, and a screaming redline, it produced just under 160 horsepower. When paired with a 5-speed manual gearbox, the Laurel 2000 SGX could move with urgency. It had the same precision and throttle response as its race-bred cousin, but with an interior that prioritized comfort and elegance. Plush seats, wooden trim, and a full dashboard gave it the kind of upscale feel rarely found in performance cars of the day. The suspension was more compliant than the GTR, making it better suited for long drives without sacrificing handling. Few outside Japan got to experience this blend of power and poise. The Laurel was never exported in this configuration, and even in its home market, the S20 version was built in small numbers. That makes it one of the rarest performance sedans of the 1970s. It remains a collector's dream, especially for those who want GTR performance in a suit and tie. Today it stands as proof that Datsun was not afraid to put serious hardware into a sophisticated package. Halfway in, and we're still finding gems. Do not forget to subscribe so you never miss the sleepers that time forgot, and drop a comment if you have got a rare one in your garage. Leaving the Laurel's polished punch behind, we now drift toward a lesser-known badge that delivered Australian muscle through Japanese precision with the Statesman DeVille. Number 6. 1974 Statesman DeVille, Isuzu Holden. The 1974 Statesman DeVille stands as one of the most curious and underappreciated Japanese-Australian collaborations of its time. Born from a partnership between Isuzu and General Motors Holden, this full-size luxury sedan brought the spirit of Australian muscle into the more reserved Japanese market. While it shared the Holden platform and broad stroke styling, the Japanese market version was uniquely reimagined. Isuzu refined the vehicle with subtle design tweaks, improved material quality, and softer driving dynamics, making the DeVille more suited for local tastes than its louder Australian sibling. Under the hood, buyers could find either a robust straight-six or a throaty V8, depending on configuration. These engines delivered strong torque, ideal for moving the DeVille's considerable size with minimal fuss. It was never meant to be a performance machine. Instead, it excelled as a long-distance cruiser, where smooth acceleration and stable handling took priority. Isuzu engineers worked to quiet the cabin and soften the ride, adding layers of insulation and comfort that set it apart from the Holden version sold back home. The result was a luxury sedan that floated over city streets while still maintaining composure on the highway. Step inside and the DeVille's identity became even clearer. Rich velour or optional leather upholstery wrapped the spacious seats, while faux wood trim and metallic accents gave the cabin an upscale look. Amenities like a power antenna, electric windows, and a well-insulated cabin helped it feel far more refined than most Japanese sedans of the time. Though production numbers were small, The DeVille found favor among Japanese executives who wanted something distinct and Western in profile, but smooth and quiet in spirit. From this blend of continents and cultures, we now move to a car that was all Japanese innovation. The Toyota Corona Mark II looked tame, but carried hidden bite beneath its buttoned-up exterior. Number 5. 1975 Toyota Corona Mark II. In 1975, the Toyota Corona Mark II matured into something more than just a family car. Positioned between the standard Corona and the upscale Crown, the Mark II was where comfort, technology, and power quietly intersected. While its exterior lines were formal and conservative, the engineering beneath the skin showed Toyota's growing confidence in building cars that could compete with anything Europe had to offer. This was the car for professionals who wanted quiet strength without flashy signals. Under the hood sat a 2-liter or 2.6-liter M-Series inline-6 engine, depending on the trim. These engines were smooth, reliable, and surprisingly torquey. Paired with either a 4-speed manual or 3-speed automatic, they delivered refined performance that made the Mark II a favorite among drivers who valued more than just basic commuting. The suspension struck a balance between comfort and control, soaking up uneven roads without feeling detached from the experience. Inside, the Mark II was well appointed for its price point. It offered full carpeting, wood trim panels, a center console, and even optional air conditioning, which was still a luxury in many markets. The cabin was quiet and composed, designed for long-distance cruising and daily usability alike. It may not have screamed performance, but it was faster and more composed than many gave it credit for. The Mark II quietly set the standard for mid-range sedans in Japan and foreshadowed Toyota's later success with the Lexus brand. Leaving Toyota's refined midsize behind, we now enter executive territory, again with a car that ruled the upper class with an optional fuel-injected V8 and enough presence to rival royalty. Number 4. 1975 Nissan President Sovereign 250 fuel-injected V8. The 1975 Nissan President Sovereign was Japan's answer to the global luxury elite. Built as a chauffeur car for high-ranking officials and business executives, the President Sovereign dripped with status and silence. But what most people did not realize was that under its formal exterior lay one of the most advanced power plants Nissan had ever installed in a sedan. For those who selected the 250 trim, the car came equipped with a fuel-injected 4.4-liter V8, a rare and cutting-edge option for its time. This engine was smooth, torquey, and remarkably quiet. Fuel injection meant better throttle response and more precise fuel delivery compared to traditional carburetors. It was mated to a refined automatic transmission that shifted with almost no perceptible delay. On the highway, the President glided effortlessly, its power always in reserve, ready to push the heavy body forward without strain. The ride quality was second to none, engineered to keep rear passengers undisturbed by the chaos of traffic. The interior matched the powertrain in luxury. Thick carpets, power everything, soft-touch materials, and advanced electronics filled the cabin. Rear passengers enjoyed amenities like rear audio controls and independent climate settings. Even though it was rarely driven by the owner, it still offered plenty to drivers who chose to take the wheel themselves. The President Sovereign was not built for attention. It was built for command. And while few enthusiasts mention it today, it stands as one of the most advanced and comfortable vehicles Japan had produced in the 1970s. Still here? You're definitely one of the true JDM fans. Hit that like and tell us which one you daily in the comments. Let's see who's still paying attention. From this plush powerhouse, we head to a very different kind of luxury coupe, where rotary power and bold design merged into Mazda's most unique grand tour of the decade. Number 3. 1976 Mazda Cosmo L 13B Rotary. By 1976, Mazda had carved out a unique lane with its commitment to rotary engines, and the Cosmo L was its most refined expression. This wasn't just a sporty coupe, it was a grand tour built for executives who wanted both luxury and something truly different under the hood. The Cosmo L came equipped with the 13B rotary engine, known for its compact size, smoothness, and high-revving nature. It delivered a unique driving experience that set it apart from the piston-powered crowd. Rotary engines had a distinct sound and feel, and in the Cosmo L, That quirkiness was wrapped in a very polished package. The rotary engine's smooth power delivery allowed the Cosmo to feel both effortless and futuristic. It offered around 130 horsepower, which in a lightweight coupe gave it respectable performance, especially in a time when emissions rules were choking most traditional engines. The Cosmo's linear acceleration and minimal vibration made it feel far more modern than many of its rivals. Paired with a slick shifting transmission and rear-wheel drive layout, the Cosmo handled better than most of its luxury-focused competitors. Its quiet ride and stable chassis made it a favorite for long-distance cruising, while its tight proportions made city driving a breeze. Visually, the Cosmo L had presence. Sharp lines, hidden headlamps, and tasteful chrome gave it an elegant silhouette that wouldn't look out of place parked beside a European Grand Tourer. Inside, it featured futuristic gauges, deep pile carpeting, and wood grain finishes that elevated the cabin experience. It was Mazda's flagship, and every inch of it felt intentional. The Cosmo L didn't shout for attention. It whispered class with an eccentric flair. Mazda would go on to perfect the rotary formula with the RX series, but the Cosmo laid the foundation with understated elegance. And now, we leave the world of rotors behind and return to Toyota, where comfort met conservative strength in a car that looked formal but packed surprising capability. Number 2, 1978 Nissan Cedric 330 GL6. The 1978 Nissan Cedric 330 GL6 was the kind of car that slipped past you unnoticed, even as it carried something special under the hood. A staple in the executive car category, the Cedric was often seen as a buttoned-up, proper ride for managers and government workers. It was conservative in all the right ways, with squared-off styling and a presence that said reliability before flash. But in GL6 form, it came with a fuel-injected inline-six that added punch to its usual poise. That made it one of the most capable sleepers in the full-size sedan class at the time, and one that rarely got the credit it deserved. The 2.8-liter inline-six produced smooth, steady power, and paired with a rear-wheel drive layout, it gave the Cedric decent driving dynamics for such a large vehicle. While acceleration was not ferocious, it was respectable, and highway cruising was where the Cedric truly excelled. The power delivery was buttery and predictable, while the automatic transmission handled shifts with confidence. The suspension was tuned to soak up bumps like a sponge, and steering stayed light and easy. You would not carve corners in this, but you would arrive rested and composed, even after hours behind the wheel. Step inside and you were greeted with one of the cleanest, most understated interiors of the late 70s. The seating was generous, the dash was functional without being bland, and the controls were intuitive. It had a certain analog charm that modern cars lack. It was the kind of car that grew on you. Many drivers bought it for practicality, but ended up keeping it for how pleasant it was to drive every day. The GL6 never shouted, and that was the point. It was silent strength in a tailored suit. Next up, we downsize in size but not in personality, with a sporty coupe from Honda that quietly set the tone for an entire generation. Number 1, 1979 Honda Quint Coupe. The 1979 Honda Quint Coupe was one of the earliest signs that Honda was preparing to step up in the global compact luxury segment. At first glance, the Quint looked like a modest little car, the kind you would expect to see quietly moving through city streets. There were no flared fenders, aggressive badges, or flashy wheels. But underneath that conservative body was a package that made it something of a proto-Acura. It came with a fuel-injected engine, front-wheel drive, and surprisingly refined handling for a small coupe of the time. For Honda, it marked a turning point, an early attempt at blending affordable reliability with premium aspirations. Honda equipped the Quint with a 1.6-liter inline-four engine that was smooth and responsive even by modern standards. While it did not produce overwhelming horsepower, the way it delivered power across the rev range made it feel much more spirited than its numbers suggested. Acceleration was brisk, gear changes felt crisp, and it maintained composure in city driving or light highway cruising. Combined with a tight suspension, precise steering, and a well-balanced chassis, the Quint was actually fun to drive, especially through twisty roads or quick urban corners. It never felt like it was trying too hard, yet it always delivered. Where it really shocked people was the interior. It had touches that were closer to European luxury than what buyers expected from a small Japanese car. Power accessories, a well-designed dash layout, supportive seats, and quality materials made it feel more upscale than its competitors. The overall driving experience was quiet and refined, a huge achievement at this size and price. In many ways, the Quint previewed the formula that would define the Acura brand years later. Not a screamer, not a show-off, but a smart, elegant performer that delivered more than it promised. And with that, our list of silent beasts from the 1970s comes to a close. These cars were never meant to steal headlines, but they earned their place in history by doing more than expected. Quiet, powerful, and almost forgotten, exactly how a sleeper should be. Which one shocked you the most? Drop your pick in the comments below. We read every one. If you enjoyed this list of unknown Japanese luxury sleepers, make sure to like and subscribe for more.